Hello all and welcome to episode 60 of the 3 for 1 Sky Fantasy Football podcast by Fantasy Football Hub as our teams limp through Gameweek 7 with just one game left to play. My name is Fergi and I'm joined tonight by two of the most successful Sky managers in the game. Firstly, Paul McAnulty. Paul, how was your Gameweek 7?
Yeah, I've had a good Sky week so far. Just Fergi, 3 to play as well. 62 points. Can't pick the captains, but the players around that have done well. Sar continuing on from where he left off, and then Sa's masterclass 15-pointer today.
Big question: did you bring in Harry Kane any of your teams?
yeah, I did.
You did.
I had the captaincy on Sa, but I had planned all week to do that anyway. It was in the FPL land. My bus team was Sa with the captaincy on it. So yeah, I'm not. These things happen. I still think if it was to play it out again, that those situations, I'd still probably bring in Kane and captain them. So I'm okay with that.
Fair enough. We are also joined by former champ, the Chief, the best YouTuber in Norwich, the petrol guzzler, Dan Cox. Dan, how's your week been?
Not
One
good.
of those.
Not good, mate. It's bad when the highlight of my weekend is getting petrol. Do you know what I mean? Because my Sky team's been terrible. Not good, mate. Can't pick a captain. Can't pick a team. I ain't even cleared 50 points, mate. So unless Gallagher can get a hat trick tomorrow night, it's not looking a good week.
Did you queue for petrol this morning, Dan? It's just questions on everyone's lips.
No, well, so I took my son to his karate, to his grading, right? And as I was taking him, I just cannot be bothered. If I run out of petrol, I just ain't going to work. Well, my boss lives near me and he got an electric car, so I'll be all right anyway. But I was just, people like going on the saying, they said on the Facebook group, they've got petrol 10 miles the other side of the city and the queue's only like an hour. I'm like, I ain't bloody sitting in that for an hour. I ain't driving the other side of Norwich to sit there. But when I was taking him to his karate, there was like 2 cars there. I'm like, oh, garage is open. Let's whip in and get 20 quid, and that's just get half the tank and that'll last me all week. But it does infuriate you seeing people there filling up the things with like 70 quid's worth of fuel. And you're like, I guarantee you're a £20 a time person until now. Then it's 70 quid and the car's going to sit on your drive all week until you get a Waitrose. It's just does your head in, doesn't it?
I saw that the BBC sent a reporter called Phil McCann to one of the stations on the way. I thought that was absolutely superb.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was class. I think I got smallish red, capped Ronaldo, did captain Ward Prowse, who is still just hanging on to his 60 passes. I hope it. He had 61. They knocked one off him. I'm hoping he holds on to his other one for his 8 point. I was tempted by Kane, but just held off. Other than that, nothing really exciting. I think I've got about 51 points Gallagher tomorrow, so just a small red this week. I think not too bad. Yes. I think a lot of people are much of a muchness. Aside from, I did notice Fantasy Football Hub contributor FPL Nima is sitting at 16th overall on the leaderboard. So very, very well done, Nima. Great work to you, buddy. For any new watchers and listeners, you are very, very welcome. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please press the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen and set the alerts so you don't miss our live streams at 9 p.m. every Sunday right here on this channel. Also, please press the like button if you enjoy our content and let us know how you've started this Sky Fantasy season. Also, as we are live, feel free to join in the chat at any time. Let us know your thoughts on the topics of the relevant sections and feel free to ask some questions throughout. Good evening to Manchester. He says he dodged a bullet by not having Ronaldo but having him in the other game. 68 points so far. Good week there, Manchester. Luke Shilito. Kane straight out for Lukaku for me. Kane's on no form at all. We were just talking just off air. He was... Like Spurs were awful, right? Kane was awful. He should have scored a goal. He did have a header just before half time, didn't he? And he did have a kind of 1-on-1 which went just wide as well. He should have scored, but Spurs looked absolutely awful. Good evening, Gordon Hamilton, Gareth Pay, John MacArthur, Mike Neve, Glenn Murray, Mark Wright, Jim Morris, Uncle Bob, and everyone else. Grey Wolf Dinner 39, just horrible. Let us know if you have had a decent week, because many of us absolutely haven't. Ricky
It's
Burns.
Fergie.
Yes, go on, mate.
Sorry, mate. Just want to say, if you are tuning in, right, I know Fergie looks dreadful, but he actually has got COVID, right?
Oh, thank you, mate.
I know he looks terrible and all that. His team have got pumped, but he's still here. I know he's had a lot of holiday, but he is here tonight and he's ill.
I am. I thought,
Dan, the way you had sent me the message, I thought that you had planned this all out to make it sound like, oh, Fergie looks awful. It's because of the Spurs game, but
yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to be that mean.
I just look awful. I'm slept for days, and it's not the best. I was gonna do an FPL stream yesterday morning, but I woke up and my head was just splitting and You know when your head is like swimming, and you feel like you're not there. And I thought, there's no way I can talk non-stop for like an hour with that. But obviously with
who was that on with?
It's by myself. See, this is the thing. So I've got to talk non-stop for like an hour. Whereas obviously this evening I've got you two. I'm I class myself as like the bra of this show. I'm the support with the two what's it called inside the bra, and I. So you two can do all the work. I'll just be the bra for the evening.
Called worse.
Completely lost my train of thought there. Ricky Burns, captain Sarr today, and it paid off. Well done. Bob Tomlinson, captain Saka as well. Fantastic stuff. And Sam Brindley asks, Reece James replacements. That's really, really unlucky. Already have Cancelo and Rudiger. You're not doing too badly there, Sam. I'm sure we will touch on that in a bit. So tonight we have some Game Week 7 match bonus for you from Paul. Hopefully Ward-Prowse is still held on to the 60 by the time we bring the match bonus cards up. Dan will talk through the last week's transfers in and out and what it means for top 1k player ownership. We will look ahead to Sky Game Week 8. We have some Twitter questions. We'll finish up with some mini-league updates and Dan's rant. I can't believe it as well that there's another international break after next weekend's games. It feels like we've just literally come off one and we'll be going straight back into one. So we'll do a pod next week because obviously there'll be nothing on for 2 weeks, but we will see. Anyway, straight on to the bonus points. Paul, starting off with yesterday's games.
Yeah, so starting off with Chelsea, Man City. I've seen quite a few tweets from Sky managers with block Chelsea defence, and I think someone had all 5 of the starting back 5 and the keeper, so 6 Chelsea defensive assets, and were in the top 100 before the game. So if Chelsea had held on, they would have shot right up to the very top. But yeah, obviously unlucky for those. Man City winning 1-0, and all the bonus points were spread out across the Man City players. So Cancelo, along with his assist, picked up tier 2 passing, so 13-point return for him. He's done really well. It's on 9.5 million, almost alternative perhaps to Diaz post overhaul. It's worked out quite well. Laporte, 9.1 million. He's got 45 points for the season so far. So those that have picked him, well done. He picked up another 9 points, so on top of his booking, got tier 2 passing. Diaz was on for tier 2 passing, but was removed a pass at the end after the full-time whistle, so down to 69, so tier 1 passes for him. Rodri, I know he was an injury doubt. He picked up tier 2 passing and was unlucky not to pick up tackles bonus as well. Bernardo Silva passing bonus and was also lucky not to pick up the tackles. And Grealish and Jesus picked up shooting bonus each.
Just on that match there, Paul, is Laporte? Do you think he's another one? You mentioned Alonso, where we'll not get him because he's like this massive rotation risk, but he just keeps smashing the points in every week. I personally think Alonso is probably a lot more secure now than maybe he was a few weeks ago, because he keeps just starting every single match. Chilwell's nowhere to be seen at all. Whereas I think we saw yesterday after the game at Stamford Bridge that Stones was running up and down the pitch, wasn't he, after with the coach and stuff. So Stones is nearing a return. Do you think Laporte is a viable option now, or do you just think not, with a Stones return potentially imminent?
Yeah, I just think that the run that Chelsea's about to embark on, and the fact that other than Rudiger and Azpilicueta, that the other Chelsea assets are over $1 million cheaper than Laporte, that's where
Makes
people
sense.
go.
Yeah, cool.
Around about $1 million. I think Christensen's just under $1 million cheaper. Another game was Man United against Aston Villa. So Emi Martinez picked up tier 1 saves. I think he's going to become popular again soon. Villa's looking a lot more astute defensively. They've got that single captaincy day that's now been announced with the fixtures throughout the week against Southampton. So those that don't have someone like Ward-Prowse, I guess, I might look for a Villa asset. Watkins picked up tier 1 shots. Greenwood picked up tier 1 shots, and Fred picked up tier 1 tackles. So nothing really at all there for any interest from a Sky fantasy player. Jacob Ramsey, another start for him in centre midfield. He's not been churning out points, but he has been playing, and he has 5.8 million. So someone to keep an eye out moving forward. The 3 o'clock games: Everton 2, Norwich 0. Billy Gilmore, highly owned in around the top 1,000, was on the bench again and didn't come on. So I think that people start playing a kind of itchy finger around the transfer out of Billy Gilmore. So Townsend picked up tier 1 shots. Doucouré picked up tier 1 tackles. Norman from Norwich picked up tier 1 shots. Lees Mello picked up tier 1 tackles, and Gibson picked up tier 1 passes. So again, other than Townsend and Doucouré, not much from a bonus perspective from Sky managers. Leeds 1, West Ham 2. Mesley picked up tier 2 saves. Liam Cooper, owners again, very unlucky. 49 passes, so a little bit away from passes. 3 tackles, so no bonus for Cooper. Firpo picked up tier 2 tackles. Rodrigo picked up tier 1 shots, and Rafinha picked up tier 1 shots. Those that persisted with Rafinha were rewarded. I know a few would have taken him out, trying to move budget around. There's a game that I think I need a Leeds captain for coming up, so that was kind of the reason why I held on to him.
He looks very good as well. I got to be fair. I think he looks more. I think he looks more of a goal threat this season than he did last season. He's hit the woodwork quite a few times, haven't he? And I think he's looking much more now of a goal threat than a assist threat, which is what he was more of last year. I think he's looks a good hold.
Yeah, when
sorry, Paul, you go.
I was saying he was doing more of those runs last season where he was hitting the corner flag and then cutting back and then crossing in. Where he looks, as you say, Fergie, he looks a lot more direct, cutting in.
He was unlucky when he hit the post. When you worry, I got Rafinha, like he went off again, didn't he, early after, and I think must be, obviously there's something in there. They're managing his minutes. So
I think they said that he's kind of managing his own minutes in terms of when he's had enough, he kind of gives him a wave. So what did he last?
Just after 60 again, wasn't it? 69 or so?
69 minutes. It's not bad, yeah. His fixtures are pretty good, but yeah, he looks really dangerous. And I haven't watched all the games. I've only watched the highlights of a few of the games, but a lot of Leeds fans have said that he should have scored a couple again yesterday, as well as the other nights, not just the one. So he's looking good.
And from West Ham's point of view, Antonio picked up tier 2 shots bonus. Ben Rama is ticking over nicely. He picked up tier 1 tackles, and Fabianski with tier 1 saves. Leicester 2, Burnley 2. Not much from a bonus perspective here. Vestergaard picked up tier 1 passes. Dan will remind everyone never to go there again. Tielemans picked up tier 1 passes as well, along with an assist. So nice 7-point return for Tielemans. Again, like Cooper and Didi owners, really unlucky. 48 passes, 3 successful tackles. And Vardy picked up tier 2 shots. Watford 1, Newcastle 1, Foster with tier 2 saves, and Sarr with tier 1 shots bonus. So another 10-point return from Sarr. That's what I said. Like I do mention this quite a lot, but around that 8 million bracket, you get players that go 2-2-2, 15-10, and then it will return to the twos, and it's very, very hard to do the timing on that mid-priced midfield bracket, I think, or somewhere I tend to struggle in as well in previous seasons.
If he gets if he gets 2 points in the next 6-7 games, it's still averages out, doesn't it?
Job done.
Yeah.
Just going to say, I personally didn't really look much at Sarah overhaul, because Watford just weren't scoring, did they? I think Watford scored in the first game, but didn't then score for the next two, maybe even like 3 games after that. So I didn't really look at him, but my goodness, he is rewarded owners, haven't he? He's been absolutely incredible, including yourself, Paul. You swine. Well played, good pick.
From Newcastle's perspective, Darlow picked up tier 1 saves, Longstaff picked up tier 1 tackles, and Joe Willock picked up tier 2 tackles. I thought Willock was supposed to be out for a while.
He was rumoured out.
Yeah, at the weekend, and he got man of the match as well. So 8-point return. Again, those that held Willock and transferred them out would be a little aggrieved by that. And then on the Brentford Liverpool late kickoff, Rea picked up tier 1 saves. Robertson picked up tier 2 passes. Alexander-Arnold did the double tackles and passes, tier 1 for both, so a 4-point return for him. Jota and Salah both picked up tier 1 shots bonus.
Just addressing a question we had around Van Dijk and his passing. So it doesn't look. I don't believe that he's hit passing all season yet, is he? He's been kind of hovering between.
So I thought he had
couple of times, twice.
Couple of times, yeah.
2 out of 5 or 6.
Two out of 5 or 6. But again, you know, these passes in the 40s, and it seems actually strange that Robertson had 72 and Van Dijk only had 45, because normally that's a bit of a partnership there, isn't it? But Robertson must have been passing inside to you know, a few of the midfielders, Fabinho, maybe Henderson, or something like that. But what are your thoughts, Dan, on Van Dijk, on whether, you know, kind of long-term hold, especially if you don't have, I don't know, someone like Diaz or, you know, kind of Rudiger or someone like that?
I don't have him, but I think, I would be concerned because he's a lot of money. So obviously if you've got him, he's not hitting the pass and bonus and no clean sheets and stuff. You know, when you then compare it to Cancelo and Diaz, exactly. Like, you'd rather have one of them, especially Cancelo, like almost probably a mil cheaper or whatever. Oh no, he's about 7.7 mil cheaper. I'd be concerned. I think I'd give him a couple more games, I think, and see how the passes get on. He's always a threat from corners and stuff, and stuff like that as well, though. So I don't think it'll be long. He might nick a goal or something like that. But I think I'll just sit with him now and see what happens.
Yeah, one of the games he picked up passing was against Chelsea when they played the whole second half with 10 men as well. So, so maybe even false to suggest that he would have got passing 2 out of the 6 games.
Watching the game yesterday, Tony and Mbeumo just didn't let Liverpool have any space today in the back four at all. They were just on them, weren't they? And I think that's been a bit of a theme in a lot of matches, actually. I noticed last year, you know, you would just watch the big teams just knocking the ball around the back all match, wouldn't you? You know how many times were we watching, you know, kind of Diaz and Stones and all that, just kind of knocking it back and forth. Same for Chelsea and same for the teams. It seems to be a bit different this year. I know that, you know, a lot of players are still, a lot of specific players are still hitting the bonus, but it does seem to be, you know, I wonder if the crowd's back and things have just had that effect on closing down, maybe, rather than just letting them have the ball. I noticed earlier, Paul, you mentioned I had Ben White, and he was on 30 passes after 30 minutes, and I had Ben White, and I rubbed my hands together thinking tier 2 all day, and he ended up on 40 over the whole game because the game changed and Spurs had to try and press, and I just wonder whether the crowds being there making the teams press a bit more or stopping these passes. Have you got any other thoughts on why we're not seeing as much as normal? Or
yeah, I'd add Brighton to that as well. Like they have had a couple of games where they've dominated possession, but not against teams like I would have expected Brighton to dominate the ball at the back against Leicester last week as well, knowing that Leicester like to let teams try and counter attack on them, or pile pressure on so that they can counter attack on them. There must be something in it with the crowd. We talked last week about the number of players getting passing. There was only 11 players over the whole weekend, and last weekend picking up passing bonus as well. So there definitely must be something in it with the crowds.
And on to this afternoon's games.
So the first game was Southampton 0, Wolves 1. So spoke earlier on about Sa's masterclass with the assist as well. 15-point return there with the tier 2 saves. Jimenez got tier 1 shots. Shea Adams, tier 1 shots. Ward-Prowse just made passing, as you mentioned earlier on, Fergie. Romeo picked up tier 1 passing, and Bednarak picked up tier 1 passing. Those with Marcel, 1 tackle away from tackle bonus. So I guess you can count yourself unlucky, but then maybe if Altnori didn't get concussed midweek, then he might have been taking that left back slot as well. Yeah. So I think those on would be happy with the 7-point return from him today. And then Arsenal 3, Spurs 1, Ramsdale tier 1 saves. Tierney tier 1 tackles, Saka and Aubameyang tier 1 shots. Lloris tier 1 saves. Højbjerg did the double like Trent with passes and tackles, tier 1 on both, and Son with tier 1 shots.
Anyone impressing you for Arsenal ahead of their double now? A kind of weekly update with that double in mind in a couple of game weeks' time?
Yeah, with bringing Kane in, I'm now trying to think of a long-term plan to get him back out, and but I'm trying to factor in the Arsenal game into some manoeuvre that I do. So kind of bringing an Arsenal player for Kane, and then do I want to keep the Arsenal player, or do I want to move it as a daisy chain, the Arsenal player in, and then the Arsenal player on to someone else? So I'm looking at options. Obviously, if Aubameyang stays playing through the middle, Lacazette didn't get on again today. Looks like Aubameyang will play through the middle on penalties as well. Maybe he's someone that I'd consider in that daisy chain move. Or again, it's probably him or Ben White based on budget, I think, when I'd make the move.
Enough, thank you. Dan, do you want to run us through the most transfers in the last week?
Yep. Probably explain why I've had such a bad week, the top two. So Antonio, most in, 12,200. I suppose if people moved on for Bamford or, Richarlison and people like that, and then Bamford's out. So, I can see. But, Antonio, I wish I'd had him really. So, he was into over 12,000. Sarr from Watford, 11,000. Again, just such a great price. And he's 7.8. And, God, I wish I had him in my team because I'd just leave him in there all season. St. Maximin, Newcastle, 10,000 teams. Ronaldo into 9,500 teams. Alonso, typical in it, into 6,000 teams, and they don't keep a clean sheet. Although the run Chelsea got coming up, I think he's going to do all right for points. I don't know if he'll play the weekend though, will he? Because surely he'll play Champions League midweek, so maybe he might have a rest at the weekend. I don't know. We'll see. Alisson for Liverpool, 5,500. Rudiger, just under 5,000. Shane Duffy, what's he into? Just under 5,000 as well for a captain, maybe tomorrow night. I'm trying to look else there. Salah, Gallagher's gone into a few, 3,300. Pogba, Lukaku. I wouldn't say there's too much really that surprised you really. Cancelo into 1,500. Damari Gray still popular. He got an assist, didn't he? Damari Gray, you said. Yeah. So I can't say there's too many surprises there. Like Antonio, people would have took him out when he got the red and the ban and moved on to Bamford for, I think it was a 4-for-1 at the time, wasn't it, or something like that. So they've just reversed that back and it's paid off. So no real surprises there.
The transfer doubts.
Right, Torres, what a nightmare he's been. I thought he would have done all right, but just not starting, and that it'll be typical. They'll play some games and get some goals. So just under 11,000 teams. Bamford, obviously, I think he's out for a month or so, isn't he? 9,500 teams. Mason Mount, just not really been doing a lot, is he? Just under 9,000. Richarlison, who I had in one, nightmare, 7,700. Rafinha, that's a nightmare, isn't it? Because like I sort of said as well, like because he had the last season and went off, and I just don't know. I didn't like to, you don't want to risk it, do you? And it's typical that he's playing and he scored. And there's another one. I think you just leave in all season unless he's going to be out for 4 or 5 games or something like that. So that's a nightmare. Mendy, a surprise. Oh no, because Mendy got injured, didn't he? And missed last weekend, so he's gone out of a lot of teams. But I still think he's a good pick. Pickford, that was. But then again, he was Rafa. I'm not having any more Everton players, and I don't trust Rafa Benitez because he talks nonsense, doesn't he? So he was supposed to be out for ages, and then he's back fit.
The Mendy one's weird because it's not like the someone could have taken him out on the Saturday because they played the Sunday. There was no murmurings of a bench-in or anything. They played on the Sunday. Then the next available game in Sky is the early kickoff on the Saturday. So there was never an opportunity to not see if he was going to start the next game before making your transfer.
You just switched him out for Alisson, haven't they? Because Alisson is one of the most ins. So I just think they've just done that. But yeah, why?
Why do it when you see the Chelsea? I know it's a tougher fixture than the Liverpool one, but if he's going to play, surely the move was keeping him long term before the run.
What else do we got here? Gundogan out of 4,200. Trent out of a lot, but I said like you said, he got double bonus, didn't he? I still think he's a good pick, but I know he's a lot of money. There's not a lot there really. Laporte, who obviously started, Webster, who was injured, Shaw, Jota. People losing patience with sort of players like that, aren't they? Ain't really done a lot. I know Jota scored. Kane there at 1,700. So yeah, again, nothing really too surprising there.
It'd be interesting to check Kane's ownership in the morning because it was only, I think, 7% this morning. Be interesting to see how much that actually rose because I would guess it would have gone up a fair bit.
He was top of Dan's captain poll on Frank's FF stuff site as well.
I did. I checked Frank's site a couple of hours ago, and it hadn't updated. He wasn't in the most transfers in, which I found quite surprising. So either it's not updated, or maybe he wasn't transferred in by as many as we thought. But no interesting one there. Just to catch up in the chat, Liam Dorian and Ndidi has had 3 tackles, 3 games in a row. So close. Dan, you got Ndidi, haven't you?
Yep. So we have. And he scored last week when he disallowed.
And people just asking around number of transfers left. Martin Beasley's got 37 and 35. Gordon's got 35 and 38. David H 37 and 38. Fire and Blood 38 and 40. And Tom Hartnell's asking, Paul, have you got a new gaff?
Oh, it's just you were telling me off from our camera angles, so it's
you just
instead of I use dual screen for this like this. I'm working from home just now. I use dual screen instead of putting the camera on top of the big monitor I've got on top of the laptop. I managed to get it sturdy at the top there now, so
it looks beautiful, mate. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Cheers.
And top 1K ownership, which is getting quite interesting now. Dan, just want to run through those.
Yeah, so again, like you said, that'll be interesting to see what this is tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Salah, Ronaldo, both got 92%. I suspect, both of them are going to drop a bit because I think one of them would have gone to Kane. Rudiger, 66%. Rafinha, 64%. Damari Gray, still 60%.
Wow. High, isn't he?
Diaz 43%, Benrahma 39%, Antonio 37%, Mendy Chelsea 37%, Lukaku 33%. So yeah, I think Kane's going to be in this. And then you got 4 strikers there, and obviously can't have 4 strikers. Duffy 31%, Sarr from Watford 31%. Like there's a lot of players here I wish I had, like Sarr and Rafinha and stuff like that. So then yeah, Trent 29%. Marcel, like you'd said, we got a reprieve this weekend because I think many thought he weren't going to start this weekend, but without Norrie getting the injury, concussion or whatever, that's why he's in. So maybe he might be all right for yet. Gallagher, 29%. So, we're hoping he gets some points tomorrow. Get something in. Do you know what I mean? Would be nice. Then Cancelo. Surprised Cancelo's not higher considering he's only 9.5 mil, but 24%. Sa, Wolves goalkeeper, because I'll say him the same as Sa from Watford. So I'll say Sa. Yeah, 23%. And result for the amount of people that captained him as well today. Insane. What a call that was. Insane, I was just glad to have a keeper that got 15 points or whatever. So I can't argue with that. Although I did make a transfer. So I've made a transfer to bring Kane in. I've used a transfer and it's cost me 15 points. So that's
11 down from the
brilliant stuff.
Transfer.
Lovely job. Carry on like that.
I'm salty with Sa. Because I said to Paul before we started, I said, I never mind if Watford had not Watford, sorry, if Wolves had played yesterday, and Sa would have had his 15-point yesterday, just a 15-pointer, fair play, you get your lucky assist, whatever. But it just so happens it's fallen on a day where it's fallen big, and it's a captain, and probably the only reason a lot of people have got him as captain. I'm not saying all before I get a volley of abuse, but it's because obviously Kane's looked absolutely awful, right? And if Kane had looked half decent, a lot of people would have picked Kane. But yeah, just a bit salty about that one. I don't often get salty, but I thought of all the games, you have to get an assist on a day where he's basically a captain almost by default. But yeah,
it happens quite a lot in the Sky game. Like, remember, Holebas was really. I think I've spoke about this before in the pod. Holebas was really cheap, and it was Watford versus Middlesbrough, and it was the only game on a Sunday one time. And I think Holebas was only in everyone's team because he was like 5.7 million or something like that. And he was a long-term overhaul pick, knowing that game was coming up, and he was a budget enabler. And he scored the only goal in a 1-0 victory. And
wow.
Like, it was like 20-ish points, doubled for everyone that held him.
Crazy. Was it Dallas as well? Was it just the last game before overhaul last year was kind of the same?
He scored in that game, and it was like a cross that went in.
Yeah, I'm sure he had like a 20-odd point or 23.
Didn't he get clean sheet, passing,
I think he had everything,
the goal,
didn't he? Yeah. And again, they're only holding him because he's budget. But yeah, anyway. And finally, Dan, average remaining transfers, they've gone down a little bit from last week.
Oh, mate, I didn't screenshot that.
I'll do it, mate. You're all right. I'll just do your job for you as well.
Cheers, mate.
You'd have them on bite size, we know that.
I know the top was 20.
And not only that you sent us all the slides, but you send us all the slides back across Fergi.
What can I say? What more do you want, Dan? What more do you want? Top 5,000 have got 34 left. Top 1,000 have got 34.1. Top 100 have got 29. And top 10 have got 20 left. So if you're holding above those, you're within those ranks, you are doing absolutely fine. Ewan Hacking, Kane is shocking at the minute. Great to pick, sir. I bet you are, Ewan. And Joe said, Kane is that bad. I can't see City going back for him. There's a lot of Kane. Tony Pridder says, Kane has lost the plot. If he's in any other team, he would have been dropped. His head is not on it at all. His body language was absolutely terrible one. I don't know if you guys managed to catch any of the game earlier, but I'm a Spurs fan. That first half an hour, oh my goodness, Spurs were absolutely dreadful. They were just letting Arsenal have the ball, and they weren't closing them down or anything. It was awful. Okay, let us look ahead to game week 8, starting on Saturday. Some interesting calls here. So we've got the 2 games. Apologies. We've got the 2 game days before the international break. Saturday, the 2nd of October. We get to the lineups for United versus Everton, and we've got Burnley against Norwich, Chelsea against Southampton. So Chelsea start this insane run of fixtures they have. Leeds against Watford, Wolves against Newcastle before Brighton play Arsenal at 5:30. Interesting captaincy. So just looking at the ownership earlier, Ronaldo was in, what was he, 93% of the team or something like that, and Lukaku was only in 33. Looking how Southampton played earlier, they were pretty woeful. I gotta be honest, I was quite surprised how bad they were actually. But interesting captaincy shout here. Paul, what are your thoughts on the Saturday?
If I owned Lukaku, I'd captain Lukaku, I think. But I don't. And I don't know. I don't know if I should bite the bullet and just move Kane onto him or not on Saturday. I just don't like making like a lot of moves before a 2-week international break. No, that I'm not like I'm only getting an instant benefit. And for whatever reason, if he didn't, I assume that he will start against Southampton. When I already hold Ronaldo, and I could see if he starts against Everton and play him or not. But yeah, I'd say Lukaku is the best captain option on Saturday.
It's a real boggle in it because I'm kind of stuck in the same boat, but mine would be to probably have to remove Salah or Ronaldo himself, and it'd seem a bit nonsensical to remove Ronaldo when he's playing the same day, and he's obviously a decent captaincy option on the same day. Salah obviously plays on the Sunday against City, and you wouldn't expect him to kind of do what's there, but they do have the next Saturday. Liverpool have got Watford, haven't they, away on the first and back, where he could be the best captaincy option there. So it's a tough one there. we mentioned a while ago, actually, I think, didn't we, that there was no obvious hop on spot for Chelsea players, and here it is in our face, kind of biting us in the arse, isn't it? Dan, what are your thoughts on the captaincy on this day?
Lukaku for me, just because of his, and I think because I'm struggling now, I'm like 2,500 or something. I don't think it's like I'm not happy with my team, so I think I'll have a bit of 30%. And I decided as well, I'm not captaining a player in the first game because it just really annoys me when I'm watching Ronaldo didn't score and stuff, and then like by 3 o'clock you're already thinking, oh my god, I've got Salah to come as yet. So I think I'd rather have the player at 3 o'clock than thinking like I can just make the misery wait a bit longer. I don't want to be like a day ruined by 2 o'clock. So Lukaku for me.
I think in your poll he's top as well, isn't he?
First next week.
Yeah.
I ain't put it out yet, mate, for the captain. No.
Oh, what was I looking at? I was looking
yet.
at something earlier. Might be a different poll. Apologies. Might be an FPL poll or something. Apologies for that. I thought.
That's right, mate. You got COVID. We'll let you off.
I thought it was your one. Yeah, and then on to Sunday. What about Rudiger on that one? If you didn't have Lukaku, I think Rudiger could be a good pick there.
I'll just worry about the rotation because have they got Juventus in midweek? Have they?
They have.
I think I then just worry. I'd rather. I know Lukaku, but I should think Lukaku would start. But I just worry with the defenders unless I can see the Chelsea lineup. I think. Well, I was surprised all my 3 played this week, so I just don't know. I think I'll just go with Lukaku because of the percentage.
Yeah, they all played on the week where they all concede and all
and all get most booked. Of them got booked. Yeah,
brilliant. On the Sunday the 3rd, then we get to see the lineups for Palace against Leicester, and then Spurs and Villa. Oh, and West Ham and Brentford. So they all start at 2 o'clock, and then Liverpool and Man City at 4:30. Dan, what are your thoughts on this day?
Super Harry Kane.
Super.
It's going to be stubborn, mate. And the Harry Kane now, he's got a he owes me, so I'm going to captain him.
I'm a Spurs fan, and I think Villa are going to beat Spurs comfortably because Villa look good and Spurs look crap. You'd expect a response off Spurs, obviously, but I thought Villa in the last few games they played looked very, very good.
If I could choose anyone, I'd have Antonio, I think, but I don't have him, so
that's what I'm.
Harry Kane.
That's what I'm thinking because I haven't got Kane yet, and if I do take out Salah on the Saturday for Lukaku, I won't have Salah, but I quite fancy Antonio for the following Sunday as well. They got the capture as well, haven't they? So I'm not sure. It's a really it's a tough one. It's a big week this week. I think it could be the week where like last year there was just like a massive template, and it was fairly easy to just kind of navigate. In all fairness, it was the same at pre-overhaul, wasn't it? It was like everything was fairly obvious, but I think there's some real decisions that everyone has to make now nearly every week. I think this weekend is definitely one of them, both on the Saturday in terms of Lukaku and in terms of the captaincy and in terms of the Sunday as well, because if you're going on form, Antonio against Brentford is probably the one to go for, you'd say, wouldn't you? But as you say, a lot of people who've invested in Kane are going to be stubborn or whatever it is and sticking.
Yeah, stubborn. That's what it is.
What about you, Paul?
I'd say Antonio's the best option, and obviously I'm stuck with Kane. I won't I was joking when I said I'd do the Kane to Lukaku move. Well, I'm half joking. I'm gonna get Ian's planner out again at the start of in the midweek. If anything comes out of the Champions League in terms of injuries or anything like that, and then have a proper look and minimise the number of transfers that I need to do to get players that I want on each of the captaincy days.
Yeah, I think for me the fact, so I've only got 0.1 in the bank as well, and what is kind of tempting me to move to Lukaku because he's probably underpriced, right, at 11.3. Is if I do go Salah to Lukaku, it frees up a bit of money then, so it enables me to potentially go someone. I'm thinking either Ward-Prowse or Tielemans at the moment, but I'm not sure. This is why I like at the moment I'm kind of playing almost week on week because all these injuries and everything, you never know, do you? So it's very hard to plan in advance with injuries and stuff. But I may move on to Antonio then and have a bit of change.
You've got Tielemans and Ward-Prowse in midfield, Fergie, don't you?
Yeah.
Have you considered downgrading one of those to free up cash at some point, or are you happy that they're going to be long-term picks for you?
No, I was going to move them on to Alonso at some point, one of them. Probably after. Probably in game week, it'll be Sky Game Week 11. I think you get to see the team against Norwich.
Yeah.
The 12:30 on the Saturday. I think
it's after the Arsenal game, so it's a good hop off if you want the Arsenal player for the 2 games and then move the Arsenal player on as well.
Yeah. So I've got that kind of rough plan in mind, but I could move onto Antonio for a couple of captaincy days for the Sunday and then maybe off, or leave him and move off someone else. I'm not sure, something like that, but yeah, it's really really interesting because I think this year, as I say, there's a lot. I think obviously the introduction of Ronaldo and Lukaku has completely upset the whole game, which is absolutely brilliant in terms of there's real decisions that's got to be made. Uncle Bob says taking Ronaldo out for Lukaku is madness, according to Uncle Bob. And Gordon Hamilton, I took Ronaldo out today for Aubameyang. Well, immediate return there is not bad. El England, I'm taking out Ronaldo for Lukaku, which will leave me with a front 3 of Kane, Lukaku and Antonio after taking out Salah for Kane today. Luke Schlitto asks Cancelo or Diaz. That's a tough one. I'm very much, Diaz is a million more, but I don't think you can go too wrong with going with both of them if you can afford it. But would you save the extra million, out of the 2? We'll go for Cancelo.
Yeah, if I didn't have either and I was getting one, I would go Cancelo. I can't remember if it was Ian or Liam that mentioned the stat prior to this season, so the tail end of last season, of the last 35 available games, I think Cancelo had played 31 and Diaz had played 34 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'd go Cancelo.
And how are you, Dan, out of the 2?
Yeah, I think I'd go Cancelo as well. Just he's been great in for points, and he gets passing it as much as Diaz, and he can obviously get attack and returns as well and tackles. So yeah, he's got more strings to his bow, as they say.
Oh, he says, sorry, the question was as captaincy on the Sunday, if you were to captain one of them, which would you captain, Diaz or Cancelo? I think without seeing the lineups, I personally would go for Diaz, but I appreciate the point.
Against Liverpool?
Cancelo, yeah.
Poor. I wouldn't really want to captain him in that game. Go for Kane.
Any more? Norman says Antonio's in for me on Sunday, and Metallic says Villa have been pretty solid at the back. Michael Antonio. David H says Antonio on Sunday for me. Manchester, I'm going Antonio. Everyone's on Antonio in the chat on Sunday, which would be interesting. Fire and Blood, have you guys joined the Sky paid leagues, £5, etc.? I think I've joined a couple of them. I've joined all of them.
Is the deadline the 30th of September or is it the 31st of October? Because I'm sure that it's always been the 31st of October and that there was something that said, or is that the cash leagues that you joined by the 30th of September this year? I'm sure there was something going around.
I'm not going to waste any money with how my season's going. I'll save my £5, thanks.
I think I've entered maybe the 5 and the 2, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join them. The team that's in.
I would if I were you, Paul. 311th place, fantastic stuff. Okay,
I've got a question for you. Guys. So I've got Duffy and Gallagher. Also have Dunk for tomorrow night. Which one of the 3 would you captain?
Could be Dunk, innit?
I go for Gallagher, I would.
Yeah, so I had a look at the Crystal Palace, who Crystal Palace have played against, and over the last 4 games, the only person that's picked up passing bonus against them is James Milner, and he got 62 passes. So, they must be pressing pretty high that the opposite defenders aren't picking up passing bonus. I think Duffy or Dunk's got the highest ceiling, and Crystal Palace are poor at defending set pieces. But at the same time, Gallagher's probably going to be the most captained player. So I'm in a bit of a quandary. I think it's on Gallagher just now. But
I'm going to captain Gallagher, mate. So he's guaranteed a 4-pointer. So
flipping heck, get the violins out, Dan. Jeez.
Don't mind bringing props out.
Just think if I captain a Brighton defender, it could be a massive upside because and if they kept a clean sheet, I would essentially be getting 3 clean sheets.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd do, mate. Dunk, I think.
I go for Gallagher because whatever happens either way, then if Gallagher hauls, you're going to do absolutely fine because his ownership isn't like massive, is it? Whereas if he doesn't, and you get the clean sheets off the Brighton 2, there's not many who would own the Brighton 2, so you've got upside anyway.
Yeah.
Duffy's in 31%, yeah? And what was Gallagher? Gallagher's in 29%. So
do your poll tomorrow, Dan. I'll captain whoever comes top.
All right.
Okay, on to some questions that we've had from Twitter. Thank you so much to everyone who sent them in. Oh, 1 sec, apologies all. Talk amongst yourselves if you want. I'll just find the questions. Okay, so we've answered a couple. So Craig Nice asked around players passing bonus again. I think we've answered that. Obviously, we don't know the answer, but we potentially think that crowds, and forwards pressing a lot more. This high press over the pitch, which Spurs didn't do for the first half an hour in their game, which cost them the match. But we think that may be the answer. MSD 1986. Is it time to pile on Chelsea defenders on Saturday? No fixture game, but with James injured, Christensen and Alonso should be even more nailed on. So he's already got Mendy and Rudiger. Can't decide whether to add on 1 or 2 more. Dan, what are your thoughts on this? Obviously, don't get to see the teams because they're playing at 3:00. What do you think?
I've got three of them, and I would like to have Mendy in because I think whether we were speaking about it beforehand or on here, but Paul saying if you've got 2 Chelsea and they keep a clean sheet, you kind of don't want them to keep a clean sheet, do you? Because people have got 3 and 4 of them and stuff like that. So I've got 3, so I'm on the Chelsea bus.
Do you think this Saturday is the right time?
There's no good entry point for Chelsea, is there? If you're not happy with your team and you want them, sometimes you just have to make the move. I probably won't now have Antonio, but I should probably just fire Kane out from Sunday and just be done with it. Sometimes you can see these things that need to be done, but I don't get the game. But sometimes I honestly think it's better. You're better off just making the move and getting the team you want rather than watch the players you don't have keep getting points.
It's so annoying, isn't it? Paul?
I guess it'll depend obviously who you're taking out for those players. If it's someone that's not playing now, like Gilmore, and you've got budget to upgrade, or if you had, I don't know, a Brighton defender and the only reason that you had them in there for this captaincy, then maybe. But it would depend on who you're bringing out. I guess Ndidi might be someone that people are considering getting out as well.
I think I'm going to wait until I think it's Sky Gameweek. I want to say 11, is it, when Chelsea play Norwich at home, for a couple of reasons. I think the first one is I don't really like to make transfers just before a big international break because you never know what's going to happen. A lot of the players play, don't they? And play 2 or 3 games. There's a risk of injuries, risk of COVID, risk of isolation, risk of all this sort of stuff. And plus at 12:30, you definitely get to see the lineup, and that Norwich game at home is obviously absolutely plum. You would miss Southampton and Brentford away, I think, which obviously two good fixtures. But I still think we're learning. Chelsea's defensive performances have actually been statistically very average. Man City are by far and away the best statistical.
You're talking about XG conceded,
yeah,
or as one of the metrics.
And Chelsea's is middle of the league, so I'm not 100% convinced still. So I'm happy. So I've got Mendy, Rudiger, and Christensen. I'm really happy to have those, but I might wait and just see how they look over the next week or two, and also then if you get injuries in your team, which actually kind of forces a move rather than actually taking out really good players just for the sake of getting them in. I think that's my current thoughts. I think if Chelsea, statistically and on the eye test, were looking defensively solid as maybe Man City were when we jumped on Man City last time, I wouldn't hesitate. But I'm a bit. Meh.
If you had someone that you knew was going to be out, like say, or that you wanted out your team long term, like as I say, Billy Gilmore seems in and out,
do it then,
in and out of favour, and you had the budget, and they were on 3-4-3, you would move them to a Chelsea defender this week.
100%. I'm thinking more. We're potentially in my team talking about players like Ward-Prowse, Tielemans, maybe Ben White, who I've got him for a captaincy for the Arsenal games, rightly or wrongly, but they're all in there with a bit of a plan in place. They want to be like, there's nothing worse, as we all know, of taking out players for them just to go and do exactly what you bought them in for. So, but yeah. Ian Parrin, greetings from Athens. So Ian is in Greece on holiday. Hope you're having a really good time, Ian. Question for Paul: what is the team you're currently working towards, and how many moves are you away from achieving it?
Well, it's changed from this morning to this afternoon,
It has, yeah.
and that's what I was saying earlier on the pod. I'm going to get your planner out, Ian. Put what I want my team to be like for each of the game weeks, and then see what minimised moves I can do to get there. Even Sa's performance today, I was like, I want Mendy long term, so this is what my team wants to look like, and then work back from there to what my team is and what moves can I do to get there. And I was like, well, I actually need Sa for that that Wolves Everton game, and the fixtures are good, and he has proved that he is a valuable asset. Maybe I can hold off on Mendy. So, a few moves. I need to daisy chain the Arsenal player around. I've not got Lukaku, so I'll have to think about getting Lukaku, and will be for Ronaldo. So whether I do it this week, which again I don't know that it feels right to make the move this week, and probably more likely next week against Brentford, or could I get Lukaku in as part of a daisy chain, move in Ronaldo onto Aubameyang for the two Arsenal games, and then Aubameyang onto Lukaku for the 12:30 game is something that I've considered as well. So it's Ian, it's your planner this week for me, and then working out what that team's going to look like there.
It's quite difficult, I think, as well, though, to actually get a kind of static 11 because of the nature of the rotation of the forwards. Just as one example, and with the captaincies, I think it's quite tough to say. I think look at Kane, right? If Kane would have banged earlier, he would very likely be in there for quite a while, whereas now you're thinking of hopping off and stuff. It's very much, it changes a lot, doesn't it?
What I'm happy about is the one area that's been problematic for me in the past is the midfield, as I say, that 8 million bracket, and just now I'm sitting with Sarr, Gallagher and Rafinha, and none of them's at the top end of that bracket, so they're not at the James Ward-Prowse or Tielemans level. So I feel that I've saved enough budget, and I'm happy with those three. So I'll be using the budget around that as well. Fair
enough. Flowerpot Man, what's the plan around Chelsea featuring in the Club World Cup? I think it runs from 9th to the 19th. How many games will they miss? We want to be too heavy on Chelsea by then, given their lovely run of Proton. I've got to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this. I don't know if any of you guys know any more about the dates and stuff.
So it's 2 games they miss, and the best person to follow for this is Ben Crellin. And I was looking, and I can't remember what he said had to happen in the Carabao Cup for him to make a situation more likely. But there was outcomes where the games that they would lose for the World Club Cup could get pushed forward. So they would play extra games, like double game weeks for those that play FPL, but 2 additional fixtures for us Sky managers prior to that point, and then you could come off when they leave, or at whatever entry point. I imagine the weekend before they go, they'll probably play the first game as well, so there'll be a nice hop off point to move on there. So when's I don't know when the next round of the Carabao Cup is, but I think it might have a basis on that, because there was potentially 2 free. Because there was potentially 2 free midweeks before that.
It's if Chelsea lose in it, then they it opens up a space potentially to play it or something,
Yeah.
don't it, like that?
But Ben's for those that don't follow Ben Crellin, I imagine most listeners and most viewers will do. Ben's a hub content creator as well, and he has his Twitter feed's usually good for these types of situations.
Superb. Dan, FPL Hambone asks, who are the best value midfielders? Sa.
All the
ones in Paul's
Sa,
team by the sound of it.
Yeah. Sa, Rafinha, that'll do you.
Any cheaper ones at all to enable premium defences and forwards? So any which have you've taken note of the last week or two? Any 6 point somethings or anything like that?
The one Paul mentioned, Ramsey of Villa,
Yeah.
like he, 2 points a week might be enough, mightn't it, for the whole team as a whole? What was he, 5.8 or something like that?
It's
He's
cheap.
cheap. The Southampton lad, can't pronounce his name.
Elianusi.
Yeah.
6.3, I think he is. Those two. I thought Gilmore was going to be good, 6.9, but I don't know what's going on, why he's not playing. So that's a bit annoying. No, not really. Just those two are the ones I'd looked at in the recent days. I spoke to your mate as well, Hopkins, and he's Hopcroft, and he said Ramsey, he should be in the team. So
I was listening to Planet FPL's Clash of the Correspondents the other day, and they had a Norwich representative on, and he was saying that the games have passed Gilmore by quite a bit, and he's not kind of stamping his authority on the game, and hence why he's kind of missed out.
Okay. Question from Luke NDN. Is it viable to just chain transfer forwards this season and focus on defence? Midfield, he's not going to make many changes. Every mid I own will be 8.3 million or less, which sounds very much like your team there, Paul. But yeah, at the moment, we're obviously only on week 7, but actually only on fixture-wise game week 6. It's very, very early doors. But you feel that's the way it's going to be playing out, just kind of hopping around the premium forwards for the rest of this kind of calendar year anyway. Paul, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I guess it's where these single match days are going to lie. Like in that Southampton Villa game, if Ward-Prowse has scored a couple of penalties in the lead up to that game, and he might become, as his ownership rises, he might be somebody that I would consider for that game. So I'm definitely not ruling it out. I like, if there was no injuries to those 3 that I've got in midfield, it would potentially be moving a defender on and kind of changing up formation. Then maybe with a view of moving them back out when a good hop off spot appears. But yeah, definitely, like I've said quite a few times, like doing transfers in midfield, so it's certainly always worked out pretty badly for me. So something I'm definitely trying to avoid and sitting with a static midfield.
And final question off Niels Koopman. Is Ward-Prowse not the same without Ings and Vestergaard? Dan, I don't know if you watched the game this afternoon at all, did you?
Yeah, I did watch most of that, yeah. We still got Parson, didn't he? I think Saints have been struggling a bit, and that, obviously you're going to take someone like Danny Ings out. That is going to affect him a bit, but I still think he's a decent pick, and he's going to get passing. And I know he missed a pen the other week or whatever, didn't he? But he'll still be on pens, free kicks, corners, and stuff like that. I think he'll be all right. So if you got him, I'd give him a bit. I think we're going to need him for a captaincy anyway, so I'd give him a bit longer.
Their fixtures turn as well, don't they? So they've got Chelsea next, but after that, their next 5 are really, really nice, with 3 of the 4 at home against Leeds, Burnley. Then they away to Watford, then they got Villa. So I think it's what if you held him this long, I think he is worth holding on. The only thing I'd say is I watched him quite intently, as you tend to do when you own the players, and he just wasn't getting forward at all. He was playing in that kind of CDM role, along with Romeo, and at times he was dropping back and picking the ball up off the centre back, which is how he gets his passes a lot of the time. So in terms of forward threat, it's probably just set pieces is where you're going to get it. His shot on target was off a free kick. It was a really good one, actually. It was a good save, but he wasn't getting forward much. But let's just see how it played up there. And there is a captaincy requirement if you are holding him in there. I think sometime in October. I think for Ward-Prowse as well. Yeah. Zvonimir in the chat. Saka captain in both teams today. Rare brag. Well done there, Zvonimir. That is a hit and a half. Many congratulations to you. Let's catch up on the leagues. Hub, the £500 league, in 10th place, Ashfields. 9th place, John Kerr. 8th, Jasper Dunning. 7th place, Lee White, rose 40 places up to 7. You must have had a hell of a day there, Lee. Many congratulations. 6th, Joseph Finley Bader. 5th, Richard Andrews. 4th, John Kerr. 3rd, as mentioned earlier, Nima Kafai Golamadi. 2nd, Elsie Bishop. And number 1, Matthew O'Grady. Very well played there, Matthew, indeed. And as we move on then to the Four Nations League, the Scots, Paul, it's all about the Scots. I've started watching a still game, as I told Paul. Let's say I met with Paul a month or so back, didn't we? And it's really good fun. I got to learn a bit of the language and the culture and everything else about the Scots. And I got talking to watching still game. And if you haven't seen it, it's a really good series. I would recommend it. I'm just about to start series 3, I think, and I'm really enjoying it.
Their Scottish accents still aren't as good as Mike Myers when he plays his dad in So I Married an Axe Murderer, though. Fergie, right?
They're pish. In 10th place in the Four Nations League, Ian Parrin's second team on 497. Dan Cox's second team, Sky Bite Size, right on the bottom there. Dan, you're not plugging your show very well. Your second team, right down there. Ian Parrin's first team. Ian was flying at Overhaul. I'm not sure what's happening there. He must have a couple of 50-50s kind of gone Ian's way there, because he was flying. Hopefully climbs back on board soon. Liam's teams had a decent weekend, up to 7th, sandwiching Dan's first team, which is in 6th, which is on 555 points. Well done there, Liam. My teams, which are kind of ambling along a little bit, but they're 3rd and 4th. I say ambling on. I know it's horrible when someone says that when they're above you, Dan. I apologise, but you were above me for the whole of last season, so I'm gonna I'll take it. Paul's second team, which is likely his first team, really, as we all know how this works.
No, you know how I name the teams.
Oh yeah,
I guess I could change. I could change the names of the teams, but you would be able to work out that it was my first team from some of the leagues that I'm in.
So his second team is just 2 points ahead of 3rd on 567. But look at this. Paul's top team, which is ranked 311th overall, on 602 points. Flying, Paul. Are you going to win it this year?
I've seen quite a few teams posted on Twitter with 0 transfers used, kicking around the top 50. So yeah, I would take a lot of luck as well as some good planning to get there. I take a couple of them with a pinch of salt. I'm not sure I believe a few of it, but I'm not disheartened by it. I'm not disheartened by it at all. I think I've got a chance.
Uncle Bob says JWP is scoring at Chelsea next week. Free kick, boom. I hope so. That would be absolutely great. And actually, no, I have triple Chelsea defence. So I'm not sure I want that.
Yeah,
no.
I'm
not sure I want that, actually.
I don't know that you still would want that free kick to go in, maybe.
Actually, maybe you would, yeah. Gordon says, a boy I work with is in an episode of Still Game. Well, there we go.
Oh, cool.
And Glenn says, Fergie does a superb South African accent. Yeah, every time we do any kind of accent, it tends to come out as South African. And Liam says, Orba captain doing bits. So Liam's rises because of Orba captain. Brave one there, Liam. Very, very well played, former champ. Well done, buddy. Okay. Dan. What's upset you this week?
I think I upset myself, right? Picking such a useless Overhaul team. That's annoyed me. The petrol thing and diesel, that's annoyed me. Like, have you got petrol and diesel in your countries? Do you have your cars on that?
No.
You ain't left the house, have you? You don't know.
The hole in the floor, we run like the Flintstones.
It's mad. It's just crazy, isn't it? Just, I said to you before, like, there's Facebook groups around where, like, they've got petrol like the other side of the city, like the queues and out. I'm like, I ain't bloody driving and waiting an hour, just run out of fuel and just won't go to work. It's just that's crazy, isn't it? I am just annoyed with my team, though. I just cannot believe that I just picked that rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And the worst thing is I have people like, first season playing Sky, watch the 3-for-1 podcast, watch your bite size, and I'm in the top 100 and I've only used one transfer. And I'm like, hang on, so you've listened to everything we've said and picked a good team. So how come I haven't picked a decent team? I just think, what is going on? But no, in seriousness, though, like, I think I obviously don't enjoy it, but at least I can look at my team now and think, Jesus, now I've got a battle on my hands, do you know what I mean, to try to get into that top 100 or something. So just don't get too downhearted when you see people posting the scores, and it's still early days, and you just got to have a laugh about it, really, and stuff. And like, don't get too down about it. If you do, I don't know, go watch some golf or something, or take your mind off it with something else, I think. So, but no, nothing really to moan about too much. Just been all right week apart from the football.
Who bought you that top? I'd be moaning. I'd be having a moan if I owned that top and I had to wear it in front of the nation.
This top?
Yeah.
It's a nice top, mate. It's from Next. Polo.
Ewan Hacking says, best part of the show is Dan's moaning. I only started following this season. I'm not sure if that's a compliment to us or not, really. Because just listen to the last hour of Sky Chat. He's like, let's be done with all that. All he wants to hear are Dan's moans. What's happened in the household, Dan? There must be something that's happened this week. Something I don't know. Is it wife annoyed you this week, or I don't know, neighbours kind of chucked someone over the fence at you, or someone?
Oh, do you know what? I've got a bit of a problem, right? So I had a bit of a dust up with his dad on the school run. Yeah, he was getting on my tits, right, and I was fuming. I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah,
come on.
So he annoyed me, and I know where he lives. Yeah. So I'm thinking, and he's a little bit bigger than me, so I probably wouldn't be able to smash his head in, right? So I'm thinking, I don't want to go physical.
It was like 5'3".
That made me laugh in the week when people were saying about Bond people and all that. I'm like, someone's going to compare me to that knick-knack soon, so I'll get it out there first. But no, this geezer annoyed me on the school run and all that, so I thought, I don't know what to do to him. So I'm wondering about if I'll get in trouble for this, right? Because I know a butcher. I was thinking about getting, when Kenwy Jones got that pig's head, I was thinking about getting a pig's head from the butcher's and sticking it on his car, and then getting some pouches of blood and tipping over his car. I thought, have some of that. But then I don't know. One, I don't know if I'll have a pig's head in my boot. And then I thought, can I get in trouble with the police off that?
Do you know? I don't know.
If anyone policemen are listening, can I get in trouble for that?
Vandalism, I guess.
In Scotland, in Paul's, everyone has pig's heads in their boots. That's what they have for tea. They take it and they put it in batter and they have it for tea, don't they, Paul? Is that right?
I'll send it up when I finish with it.
If they were freely available, I'm pretty sure they would. Yeah.
Pretty sure
you get it from a butcher. Just ask. Can you keep us a pig's head?
Who would?
Sorry to any vegans listening.
Our butchers has a section. Our local butcher has a selection of battered stuff in like one of the fridge cabinets.
Really? Do you warm them up or eat them cold?
Well, I've only ever bought anything battered from the local fish and chip shop, so I'm not sure. I assume that they oven cook them to stop the batter going.
I can't wait to visit, Paul. I can't. You've sold it to me.
We had the story on one of the pods before where I went to the chip shop with someone and they said, "Can I get a burger, please?" in the BAP, and they're like, "Yeah," and it came and it was battered, and they're like, "What? What's this?" Like, I didn't ask for it battered. I was like, "Well, you didn't ask for it not battered though, so."
Battered by default.
Yeah.
For any new listeners, if you've never been to Scotland and you want a burger when you're in Scotland, make sure you ask for your burger without batter. I just love that story. I think that's amazing.
They don't batter smoked sausages though. They batter normal sausages and they give you like 2 or 3, but they don't batter smoked sausages.
I still want a pizza crunch.
Pizza crunch.
Deep fried pizza.
We have to go on tour, boys. We have to go on tour up in Scotland. I can't wait. Glenn Murray in the oven. He knows, look, Glenn, he loves it, Tony. Yeah. Anything to do with any Scottish cuisine, Glenn's just like, batter it in the oven. Done. That'll do. Was that South African enough for you? I don't know. And Uncle Bob Dan says, pay a kid to bean his property. I'm not sure about that, Christ.
Well, it's come up to Halloween, so he's definitely getting egged. Anyway. I'm going to blame it on kids.
Okay. Apologies all this week if I've I've tried my best. I'm not sure if I've had my usual kind of enthusiasm and stuff. I'm still feeling very, very ropey, but glad we managed to get one in anyway, to get, you know, all the guys' advice and stuff over. Because there's no games now after next week, we'll motor pod next week, but by the time the week after rolls on, and then we're ready, we should be absolutely right as rain and back to normal. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. And for those that either watch back or listen back, your continued support is much appreciated. FPL Sparta battered Mars Bar. Yeah, we've talked about battered everything. And Gordon Hamilton said only battered in a fish and chip shop. And Bebe gives us all the pizzas for that pizza crunch. I still can't get my head around it.
They'll never do margaritas as well. They don't you don't get a flavoured pizza in your crunch. It's just cheese and tomato.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that?
I'm sure they would, but I'm sure they would batter it. But it was more the fact that if you turn up, you don't want to be waiting for something, and they're already freshly there, ready to go.
Isn't it amazing when you grow up and you where you live and and life is just exactly how it is. And then you kind of venture outside, even going in friends' houses or whatever else. We go start eating in restaurants, then you go off to uni, and then you go off and live in different places, and you just realise that what you know is actually just in your household. Even a lot of the time, it's bizarre, isn't it? And then when you go out, it was the wide world is full of all these glorious wonders like pizza crunch.
You two haven't been to Norwich, have you?
No, I've never been to Norwich.
That's an eye opener.
As a kid, I was in the Norfolk Broads. That's your area, though.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll do a fest, bite-sized fest next year. Norwich fest. £50 a ticket.
Uncle Bob asks Fergie, how's the defence of Sun Dream Team going? Not well, but Steve Cheek, who was in the chat, he made a comment just about actually. Sorry, just joined. Hope you're well, Fergie. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks, Steve. Steve is doing extraordinarily well in Dream Team. So Steve is the one to look out for this season. I think he's got about 6 or 7 teams in like the top 200 or something, or 300. So he's doing well. Dan, you're doing as well, aren't you? Is that right?
No, I was doing all right. I had a team. I think it was just outside the 2,000 or something on the weekend, but I think about 7,000 now. But it's got a good team value.
That's all about, mate.
I was 600th on Friday, but I had a blocked Chelsea defence. So unless they keep a clean sheet against Juve during the week, I guess that's probably written out as well.
It's been a tough start on Dream Team, and this weekend I think I've got like 11 points or something, because obviously we're stacked with Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United, whatever else. They've all been awful, haven't they? Manchester said he's 85th, and Uncle Bob, Simon Ward, is on the prowl in Dream Team. I think he's got teams in first and second, and he has won Sky twice, haven't he? So he is definitely the one to look out for. Yeah. I think that's it from us, lads. Nothing else to talk around other than cuisine and things. Glenn Murray says South African again. My accent. It's not. It's surely not. I'm gonna have to brush up on my Scottish. I'm gonna have to give it better. I learned. I know the words now. Deed, and pish are the two which are Scottish words, aren't they?
There's a moose loose about this house.
Very good. So yeah, don't have to try it, mate. Deed, heed, and pish. That's pish. Tastes like pish. Anyway, Dan, where can people find you?
Article on the Hub each week. Twitter, Dan Cox _FFH. FFH. I can't remember. I need to change that because I cannot remember it. Twitter's the best place. Article on the Hub. If you went to subscribe to my YouTube, please give that a little subscribe. I'm only 37 away from 1,000 now. So then I can start advertising Viagra and hair loss products and wills, everything like that. And I'll get a couple of quid a week. If you've subscribed, but you've got a child in the house who's got an iPad, just get on there. I'll give mine a quid a week to subscribe. It's easy done, innit? So, and before Fergie says it, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all your questions and being here and stuff, because, well, the show would be all right, but it's a lot better since everyone tunes in and stuff and contributes.
Indeed. And Paul, where can we find you?
on Twitter at Paul McAnulty 1 MCANULTY. If you're wondering what the panting is, it's this guy here. I've got a Bernese Mountain Dog and he's
right.
panting.
We thought you'd made a bet or something, and you were like, "You can't do that. You can't. Go on, do it. You can't. Go on." But no, it is the dog. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, my handle on Twitter is at @FFH_Fergi. If you don't follow us, drop us all a follow. Martin says he's 70th in Dream Team. Very, very well done there, Martin. Great stuff. And Zvonimir quickly, 130th in Sky. No trans. Your transfers will catch me, Paul. You never know, guys. You never know. It's very, very early. It's very early in the season. Just quickly before we, as well. I was thinking this earlier in FPL. So in FPL, I've been having really just like okay weeks. I feel I've been having quite decent weeks and quite scores of 60 and 65 and 59 and I don't know whatever else. But I just keep treading water. But for me, through experience over the years, not just on FPL but on all games as well, it's very easy to get downhearted really early on in fantasy football if you're not pulling up trees and smashing it every single week. We've got to remember that this early on, people are using transfers left, right, and centre. People are, we're only 6 game weeks in as well. People are getting lucky as well, with certain things. Heavy owned picks are coming in as well and stuff. I would just keep battling it through. The people who win fantasy football games are the people who do well, are the people who are the most disciplined throughout the season, and just only 6 game weeks in. So if you haven't had the best of starts in any format, but especially in Sky, do not worry about it. Just it's a disciplined game. Just trust the process, and hopefully in the coming weeks things will start to come right. But I've been feeling in FPL. I've been feeling like I've been playing well, but I'm not getting the green arrows, and I can't really work out why. But I know the people are playing wild cards around me, and taking hits and like SARS banged and and all this kind of stuff. We just have to trust the process. So Okay, so this podcast and video will be on the Fantasy Football Hub, Sky and TFF YouTube channel, and also available in all major podcast platforms. If you like what you watch, please click the like button. And remember to subscribe in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If you enjoyed your listen, please rate the podcast and leave some comments. If you are listening back, please go on to Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. Leave us a comment. It'd be absolutely great if you could. Our handles on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok are at @FFH_HQ. And our podcast Twitter handle is at @FFH_Sky. So please follow and feel free to ask any questions. Our website is fantasyfootballhub.co.uk, where you'll find everything you need for fantasy football all under one roof, including player comparison tools, the fixture ticker, Opta-stats, top player team reveals, and much, much more. Just quickly to answer Gordon's question, he's used 6 transfers and just inside the top 1,000. Is that about par for the course? That is absolutely fine, Gordon. Just ease off just a touch on the transfers and you'll be absolutely fine there. Martin Beasley said the dog's beating Dan in Sky. the Burmese Paul's dog's even beating Dan in Sky, Martin says. Thank you, Martin.
He's running my second team.
Dan's
that's ahead at second in our league.
So with another international break looming, we'll be back 2 weeks today looking ahead to game week 10. Stay safe and good night all.